Greetings, Lewis, and welcome to part two of deck report number 15. So, on the first deck report, I talked about the Centurion deck because it's the deck that I've been piloting the entire weekend, and I spoke a little bit about the matchups that I faced, and I want to talk about the only deck that defeated me throughout the past weekend, and that is not this exact build, but it's this variant of Snake Eyes, which is the Kashtira Snake Eyes deck. So, to give more context into why I'm bringing this up, this is a video that I originally had planned 2 to 3 weeks ago. However, due to time constraints and with other things that I've had going, I never got to showcase or explain the concept behind this deck and how good it is in theory. Now we're at a point where the theory has already been shown. The deck has already garnered a bit of success. It has topped multiple regionals. It made top four of the last YCS because it was piloted by Andres Torres. And more importantly, and the reason the discussion spawned in the first place, it is pretty much overtaking the metagame in Master Duel. In Master Duel, currently, Snake Eyes is the best deck, pretty much same as here in the TCG. However, their pool of cards are a bit different from ours and a bit different from the OCG, making this particular variant very possible. In the OCG, this variant is not really existent at all because Unicorn is limited, Fenrir is forbidden, Raid Soth, even though it's not in this build, is also like limited. So it's a lot harder to like play that particular variant or that particular engine in other decks, with just the engine being very neutered. So, what does this core provide for us? So, the beneficial thing about this engine is that it doesn't really conflict with a lot of decks in the game unless Kashtira Theosis and Kashtira Riceheart are being used like uh, thoroughly. These two cards XYZ lock you, so once you resolve these cards, you are locked into XYZs. However, the rest of the cards do not really lock you at all, which makes them very, very valuable in a lot of strategies. Fenrir is already known to be a natural oppressor for breaking boards. It has been doing as such in the past few formats. Uh, Another video that I kind of wanted to make, but I guess I'm kind of thankful that I didn't because the format kind of shifted gears in parts of like tech cards that people have been playing. Is that Kashira Fenrir fell off for a little bit once Phantom Nightmare arrived, and then now a bit more later, Fenrir is now like popular again. I guess we should talk about why Fenrir fell off a little bit beforehand. The number one reason Fenrir was not doing as well like before this moment right now is because of Nibiru the Primal Being. So in a lot of particular combo decks, like say for example I'm playing Fenrir in Centurion. Fenrir is another free summon. There's just another layer of interruption for your opponent. But the problem is, it's another summon, meaning that you are most likely getting to the Nibiru range if you're trying to do like a concrete combo that the deck standardly does. And that just falls into Nibiru taking out like all of your resources. The one deck that can actually benefit from Fenrir despite that issue is Tearlaments because of their addition to adding like Kashtira Tearlaments. So that is like the one exception to the rule. Outside of that, Fenrir was falling off in a lot of main decks because of that reason. The second reason Fenrir also fell off is because of Promethean Fire Princess. Like, just being able to summon to just try to deal with your opponent's board was not really ideal when they already had a card that can just automatically deal with the Fenrir immediately. And both resummoning Princess and destroying are all part of one effect, meaning that the Fenrir does not bridge well into like Princess interaction. So fast forward to today, we see Fenrir again, and not only we see Fenrir now, we also see Unicorn, and we also see Birth. I guess we'll talk about the Unicorn first, uh, before like going back to Fenrir. The thing about Unicorn and the thing that makes it very impactful this format is that if your opponent decides to hand trap you and they're not using Effect Veiler or Ghost Mourner or Infinite Impermanence, Unicorn gets a free like look at your opponent's extra deck, and not only do they take their valuable resources from them, but you will then know what deck you're facing against after you see their extra deck. And that makes it a lot easier for you to go through your combos. It gives you the ability to just like think about properly whether or not you should like continue your plays. Unicorn just by itself is already really oppressive because let's say, for example, your opponent Ash Blossoms you, you sniped one of the cards from their extra deck. You can just leave the Unicorn on board, and if your opponent's like main strategy depends on two key cards from the extra deck, and they cannot play around Unicorn, they're just going to lose because you are going to be gaining more and more advantage each and every turn with your engine, while your opponent is just getting more and more dwindled by resources. Another thing that makes Unicorn really good is that its interaction with Kashtira Birth. Basically, adding Kashtira Birth makes it so you can use Unicorn as a free material for like any two summons. Let's say, for example, you just link summon with the Unicorn into a link 2. You can resummon the Unicorn with Birth, and that gives you access to either a link 3 or you just keep the Unicorn on board. Uh, Another thing that's really cool about the Kashtira engine is that if you look at the more popular decks right now in the metagame, it has a lot of interactions with them. Like, if we go back to the Snake Eye variant, Birth gives you the ability to to just normal summon Wish without tributing. Uh, Unicorn grabbing back Birth means that it can be a free send of like Snake Eye Ash or Snake Eye Oak, and you can just reborn it back with Birth. It also gives you the ability to synchro summon into synchro 8s, like for example Cypher Lord Omega, Borolo Savage Dragon, like Tenyi, just to name like a few notable examples. You can make rank 7s in this deck real quickly just by like combining Wish with the other Kashtiras. And there are some rank 7s that you can play in this deck, at least on the Snake Eye variant, that just highly benefit you. Like for example, you can play Dracosack, and Dracosack just gives you ability to just like either link climb a lot easier or just like synchro climb. Like the entirety of the IP Promethean setup can be done with just this engine. You can also have access to stuff like Deco Tucker Heat Soul as well. You also have access to SP Little Knight with her second effect. Just a lot of really cool interactions there. Shangri-Ira being a fire monster means that you can target it for the effect of Promethean Fire Princess, and you can just protect the Shangri-Ira, keep the Shangri-Ira on board, and just summon the princess for free. So you just have a free body that you're just summoning while also disrupting your opponent. And Promethean Princess, the way she works is she resolves the effect as much as possible, meaning that not only do you get to keep your Shangri-La, you can also just like resummon the Fire Princess. You can just do other plays with it, and so on and so forth. And another engine or another deck that can pair well with Kashtira is Voiceless Voice. And the main reason for that is because both Saravis and Skull Guardian are level 7, meaning that you can just use your Kashtira monsters as free tribute fodder for your voiceless monsters. And again, if we go back to the Kashtira Birth example, you can Kashtira Birth, you can Unicorn at birth, tribute the Unicorn to just summon stuff like Skull Guardian, and then you can just use Birth to resummon the Unicorn. This interaction with Birth and Unicorn also beats a lot of certain matches. Like, it makes Runic very awkward for them. It makes Branded very awkward as well. It makes the voiceless mirror match a lot like worse as well. So just the existence of Birth and their interaction with the graveyard, where your opponent activates a spell card, is also really, really strong. You also have tools in your extra deck, or in your main deck rather, that can just deal with certain monsters. Like, let's say for example, I have like a light dark immune Chaos Angel. Normally this would be a extremely hard card to get rid of, but Kashtira Scareclaw makes it so you get to negate the monster's effect when you're declaring, and that does not start a chain, so it's not an activated effect, meaning that it's not unaffected by it. So let's say for example you have Kashtira Scareclaw plus Fenrir, you can attack into the Chaos Angel with Fenrir, and as soon as the attack is declared, this will no longer be protected. So Fenrir can just banish it face down, and you can just call it a day. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to talk about this deck. I kind of wanted to talk about this engine as a whole. I think these are like the best ratios for this like engine, unless you're playing above 40 cards. On that regard, you might want multiple numbers of Kashtiras, but I think this engine works fine as compact as it is. Charles to Diego Rodriguez, he's a fellow EJ Gaming member, as well as the one who topped the YCS in Colombia last week as well. He like pretty much piloted a version similar with this ratio of Snake Eyes, and he really caught me off guard with it. He caught a lot of people off guard with just that engine. And maybe in the foreseeable future, if these cards don't get hit at all by any way, shape, or form, and which I don't think it will, I don't think Kashtira is in Konami's radar right now, at least in the TCG. We might just see this engine just splashed in other archetypes. But that's it from me. I hope you found this video informative and to your liking, your understanding. More videos coming soon. Keep practicing and keep doing.